I ordered up the Elite Marty report just to see what exactly we were dealing with. And this is the only one that was in Wimbledon white that had the options that this car has from the factory. It's not the only Wimbledon white car, of course. It's not the only one that has, a folding rear seat and a console and whatnot. But the combination, it is the only one that came that way, which makes it even that much more special. I had previously met the owners of SEMO Classic Mustang, and they guided me when I was purchasing this car. And so when I called them and asked them if they'd be willing to take on the project to preserve this car, they were all over it. We loaded the car up in July of 15 and took it to Missouri. As soon as we got there, they brought it into the shop. They started taking it apart. They started identifying parts that were not original, which of course for a car that was 50 years old, it's very common that some parts have been changed out. But I really wanted to see the car back to as original as possible with date code correct parts, and they did a phenomenal job of sourcing those parts. It could have taken me years if I could have done it at all to find date code correct parts. They had an original 50-year-old exhaust system from manifold to tip. And I never would have found that. There's probably only a couple of them in the country. So they did a great job of going through the car completely over about a 6 to 9 month period. In addition to sourcing parts, SEMO went through the driveline completely. It is all numbers matching. Unfortunately, one of the spark plugs had been out of the engine for decades. So the engine needed to be gone through, and obviously the fluids are like jello throughout the whole driveline. So they went through, rebuilt the engine, and cleaned up all the gearing and everything else on the driveline. They also cleaned the entire car. They went through and found any remaining mice nests, repaired any wiring issues from the mice and whatnot. But by the time we got the car back, it was show worthy as a preserved 1970 Boss 302 with 31,000 miles. In the 7 or 8 years since the car has been back on the road, we've been extremely fortunate to participate in some incredible events all around the country. First and foremost, we've been reunited with the previous owners, Mike and Paula, on 2 different occasions. It's always very special when we get together with them and talk about the history of the car. They owned it since '74 until we purchased it in 2015. Um, the car's been in 3 different magazine articles. It's in a coffee table book. We were interviewed on television about it. It's been as far south as Miami. It's been in Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, West Virginia, the Carolinas. I mean, we've taken it all over. Pennsylvania. We were honored in 2019. We were at Carlisle, and our car was one of the feature cars in the building. And we were approached by the Historic Vehicle Association and were given the National Automotive Heritage Award, which is just an honor beyond belief for us. Um, uh, 2021, the Concours at St. John's in the Detroit area, they had a 2 car display with our car and the legendary Black Ghost, which the fact we were parked next to that was just incredible. So the car has taken us all over. We've met incredible people, which for us is a huge part of the hobby. It's that shared passion with like-minded car folk, and we've been able to share this car that we found on Craigslist and pulled out of a barn. And so it gives people hope that there's still some really cool stuff out there if you keep your ear to the ground. And for us, a lot of great memories and a lot of Octane therapy, which when we do the car stuff, it gets our head in a really good place.